Hello, everyone, and very good afternoon to all of you for joining our session today. This is the continuation of 15 Laws of Growth, and my apologies that the last two Sundays, so the last two sessions didn't happen is plain. Hopefully, we'll be able to recover the sessions that we have missed in the next couple of Sundays that we do, and we'll be able to complete the program. So once again, thank you very much, everybody, for your understanding as we return to continue. I will do my best to keep these sessions on every Sunday so that we could continue and keep the momentum. From the sessions, from the participant names that I see in the Zoom room, I see that all of you are continuing students. So welcome back, and very, very good to have all of you today in our program, the 15 Laws of Growth. In fact, could I check if everybody is a returning student? If so, please go to the chat box and write yes. If you're a returning student for the program, which I believe is everybody is a returning student on the program. Cool, great. All right. Good. Wonderful. So let's continue our session for today, 15 Laws of Growth. And as many of you are aware that this is a program we are continuing. As the program, the original content was developed by C Maxwell. John Maxwell, one of the top leadership gurus and the expert in the world. And we are continuing with this book. And as of now, we have covered a couple of them. So one of the laws we have covered is the law of intentionality, the law of awareness, the law of the mirror, the law of the pain, the law of the ladder, and the law of contribution and curiosity, the law of trade-offs are some of the laws that we have covered. Today, we're looking at the law number 6, the law of the environment, which is quite an important element for us to understand today, because the law of the environment refers really about the team that you work with. And we have learned at the very beginning of our session that growth doesn't just happen. It is not automatic, it is quite intentional. And we studied this at the very beginning when we studied the law of intentionality, that in order for you to grow, you have to be really intentional. You've got to have a purpose. Now, one could also argue whether if you have the right purpose and if you're not in the right environment. So absolutely, today's lesson, the law of the environment. In order for you to grow and thrive, you've got to be in a conducive environment, an environment where they help you to become better because of who you are and because of your uniqueness. If you're not in the right environment, it will be very difficult and hard for you to grow. You could be somebody with a growth mindset. You always talks about growth mindset. You are really an advocate of growth mindset. But if you're not in the growth environment and the growth mindset environment, what you can achieve will be quite lower in terms of what you wanted to do. So what is the law of environment? The law of environment states that growth thrives, both personal and professional growth thrives in a conducive environment. A conducive environment is referred to as an environment where there are challenges, there are ways to get through it, and there's an open-mindedness among the team that works around. And the environment is always growing and developing, and the leaders in the environment are agile. They look for changes and things that you can do better. So there is a lot of different factors that are actually included in the growth environment. In today's lesson, what I wanted to give you is 10 characteristics of a growth environment. This is also on your handout, so feel free to take notes, or if you want to write it down, it's perfectly fine to do, because growth environment is not just any environment. There are certain indicators of whether that is the right environment for you to grow or not. For example, when you look at winning in events, you can have the best players in the world, but it doesn't mean you're going to win if you don't have the right environment. How many times the world's best players or individually the best talents represent a particular team, and yet they don't win because they don't have the right environment. So the right environment and the environment where everybody can perform at their best is so important and unique. So looking at the growth environment, the number one characteristics of growth environment is a growth environment is a place where you are continually challenged. It's a place where you get new projects. It's a place where you get opportunity to do what you do best every single day. It's not a place that always does the same thing 12 months in the year. It's not the place that, for example, you set a target at the beginning of the year and you achieve the target in the 9th or the 8th month of the year, and then your team goes like, okay, we achieve our target. They're always looking at how can they challenge themselves more. In fact, they're never happy with the service standards that they have. They always looks at how can we do better? How can we create more? I'll give one example. Imagine you work for an organization where you deliver service to customers, because there are certain organizations where you don't necessarily deliver something. It's just maybe a freelance service you provide, but customers comes to buy things from you, or customers comes to your place to get service. So there's a physical presence. Maybe in 1 month you had 100 customers, and out of 100 customers, only one customer complained about something. Maybe they complain about the lighting, or maybe they complain about the uniform of the employee, or maybe they complain about the system that you have where you need to fill a form, or maybe they complain about the queue system that you have where they have to take a queue and they have to wait. So you have an opportunity here to say, well, we had 100 customers, only one complaint. Why do you have to worry? In a growth environment, you don't take that one complaint for granted. Even in that out of 100, one complaint, it's a big deal for you and your team. So therefore, your team is going to look at that complaint and say what we can do, what we have to do. That is what you call as a growth environment. Because in a growth environment, you don't lack that one complaint, go like, oh, we had 100 customers, only one complaint, what's the big deal? So growth environment is an environment where you are continually challenged on what? Challenge on how can we become a better organization? How can we do better? I'm sure when you look at your, and as I teach these 10 points today, I want you to do an evaluation, by the way, a self-evaluation at the back of your mind, a self-evaluation of whether your current work environment is exactly like this or not. And you'll be, I suppose, amazed to look at these 10 points and say, well, yeah, my team is like this, or my team is not like this. Once again, a growth environment is a place where you are continually challenged to become better, to get better. So that's number one. The number one characteristics of a growth environment. So let's look at number two. A growth environment is a place where your focus is forward. These organizations or these teams, they always look at the way moving forward. They will have failures, they will have setbacks, they will have discouraging days, but they're always looking at how can we look at forward, and how can we look at the vision that is ahead of us, and how can we work towards it. They are not short-sighted, or certain achievements they get does not short-sight them towards their future. You probably know organizations where they don't look forward. They just open the place every day, give service, and there is no vision for the future. So when a challenge happens, or when something major happens, the organization is not able to move forward. And one of the other characteristics of this particular point is that certainly you will have lots of failures in such an environment, yet you always look forward and look, and your forward is driven by the vision of the organization. So even if somebody complains, or something goes wrong, or you have a disaster, you know exactly that you have a vision. So you will keep looking and moving forward. So is your organization an organization there, the focus is forward? And the focus here really refers to the vision and the way that your organization is driving. Do you see that there's a future in the organization? Because growth doesn't happen in environments where they're short-sighted. Growth happens in environments where the team is looking forward on how they can be better and what they can do better. So that's number two. So there's 2 points I've already shared. The first one is that growth environment is a place where you are always challenged. Number two is a growth environment is a place where your focus is forward. Number three, a growth environment is a place where the atmosphere is affirming. What does this mean? It means it's a place where you get encouraged, you get always recognition and appreciation from the people that is there to look after you. There's a culture of love and care. And this is a culture where they even encourage you to make mistakes. This is an environment where people let you try things that they are not sure of. This is an environment where they let you take risk. That is what an affirming environment. It's not an environment where when you make a mistake, you get belittled or you get discouraged by the people. This is an environment where you are able to raise your hand and say, I need help. And also you probably know whom to go and get the help, because this is wired in the company culture that when it comes to the growth of the people, there are three very important things. Number one is that they always need to have an encouraging environment. Number two, they need to be appreciated on a consistent basis. And number three is that the people need to have an opportunity to make mistakes so that they can learn from those areas. So the atmosphere has to be affirming, and the affirming here refers to really encouraging to do better, to get better. So a question that you can ask is that, do you have an environment like this in your organization? Now, when you look at the organization, perhaps overall organization may not have, but do you have this in your team? Because in a bigger team, you work in a small team. So ideally, if you don't have an influence on the entire team, you could actually link this with your little team or your department that you work with. So this is number three. The atmosphere is affirming. It's encouraging, you get appreciation, and you come to work every day feeling inspired and dedicated because of the team that works with you. Number four. So far we have covered three characteristics. And number four, you are out of your comfort zone. A growth environment is a place where you are out of your comfort zone. It's a place where they don't let you just do what you do every single day for 12 months, and you get new tasks, and you don't find yourself bored at this sort of place, because there's always some new challenge. What happens is when you get out of your comfort zone, it helps you to grow. You probably have heard this term before. Comfort zone, or staying in the comfort zone, you're not able to create the magic. The magic comes from leaving the comfort zone and really getting out of that comfort zone, do something that you're not very sure of. You take the risk, and perhaps it will work, it may not work. Yet you move forward, and eventually, if it works, good on you. If it doesn't work, you keep trying until it works. So a growth environment is a place where they help you to get out of your comfort zone. Do you have an environment like this in your organization? Because, and here's an example. What do I mean by also the comfort zone? Comfort zone is where you make a mistake and they don't tell you whether it's a mistake or not. A comfort zone is a place where you need to improve, but they don't tell you what you need to improve. They just pinpoint, or there's a culture of blame in their organization. So in a growth environment, in a comfort zone, in a zone, where in a growth zone, because from comfort zone you go to growth zone. In the growth zone, you are given the right feedback. you are being asked to take risks. And that is what I mean by you are out of your comfort zone here. Number 5, a growth environment is a place where you wake up excited. This is one of my favorite characteristics of growth environment. What's your feeling like when you enter into your organization every day morning or whatever the time you report due? Do you feel like, oh my God, this is the same place, nothing changes here, it's boring, I just come here because I don't have a job, that's the reason why I'm here? Or do you come to work and the moment you enter, you go like, what will be the new challenge for me today? Because if you have that kind of a feeling and experience, it is certain that you will wake up with excitement and energy to go to work every single day. I think in most workplaces around the Maldives and also of course some parts in the world where people go to work and they don't feel inspired because this is not the purpose of the organization is not connected deep down with the people. Whatever the business you do, by the way, whatever the business that you are in, you can create that excitement. It really depends on the organization. Because when people are connected deep down with the purpose, they wake up excited. And a growth environment is a place where you go like, my God, I can't wait to go to work the next day. I can't wait to go and be with my team. If I ask you, for example, what is one reason why you are in your current organization, I have no doubt that most of you will tell me it's your people, it's your team. You're not going to say it's your workspace. You're not going to, say it's because of the, I mean, of course, the pay is what you get paid, but probably that maybe not be the biggest motivator. It could be something else. So the excitement comes from those kind of elements. So let's pause for a moment because there are 10 points I'd like to share. And so far we have covered 5 of them. So I'd like to go back and recap them. Number 1 is a growth environment is a place where you are continually challenged. Do you have an environment like that? Maybe, maybe not. A growth environment is a place where your focus is forward. The point is that if you don't have this sort of characteristics, if you don't have this environment, how hard you work, only you feel good about it. You feel that you are doing it, but the organization is not benefiting and you're not moving forward. Atmosphere is affirming. A growth environment is a place where your culture, the team, there's encouragement every single day. A growth environment is a place where you are out of your comfort zone. Your team challenges you, they ask you to move forward, they challenge you to get better and be better. A growth environment is a place where you wake up absolutely excited about what's ahead of you. So these are the five characteristics, and I will share the other 5. And I hope by now you understood what a growth environment is a little bit, right? So I've given out of 10 points, I've given 5. Are you learning? How do you feel so far about these points I have shared? Do you have a culture like this? Are you learning? Are you excited? If so, go to the chat box and write yes, please. There are 10 points I'm going to share, and these are just some of them. I'll share the remaining with you in a moment. Good. Number 6. One of my favorite. Number 6 is failure is not your enemy. A growth environment is a place where failure is not your enemy, which means there's a culture in such organizations where they help you to really look at it from a different perspective and use failure as an opportunity to learn, to reflect, to learn, and to get better. So there's a culture where you make mistakes, you bring those mistakes to the people. I mean, many organizations you probably know, and I hope you don't work for an organization like that where your people make mistakes and they try to hide it. You know why? Because if they tell they have made a mistake to somebody, they will get punished rather, or they get a warning letter, or somebody's going to say something to them that will make them feel so sad. So they don't want to get that discouragement, therefore they don't tell. And I tell you one thing, if people make mistakes in your organization, if they don't speak openly about it, that is a very big problem. One of the best things that a leader can do for the people to grow and develop is to have a culture where people can speak openly about the mistakes that they make, because mistakes are inevitable. You can't avoid the mistakes that people will make. You can't avoid failures. Failure is inevitable. It will happen. Therefore, people don't see failure as an enemy, or it is rather a challenge. They see it as an opportunity for their people to get better. So there's a system whereby openly you speak about those things. Your leaders will. How does the language sounds like in an environment like this, where the leader will say, "I am all right for you to make mistakes. I'm okay for you to mess up. If you mess up, come and tell me first so that I can help you to get it right." Yesterday, I was delivering a keynote at the coaching conference where I believe even among this Zoom call today, some of the participants attended. I spoke about failures because failure is so key for personal transformation and a professional transformation. Because we all know that we will make mistakes, but if we learn from the mistakes and make sure it doesn't happen again, I think our future is going to be even more brighter than what we actually could think of. So that's the whole idea around it. And I probably may have shared this story before, but this is such a profound example of how do you create a culture like this. When I took our new human resources and quality assurance team a couple of years ago, obviously the previous leadership team, probably the previous leadership, that particular team, if they would make a mistake, they wouldn't speak about those mistakes openly, or they try to hide the mistake. So often I would hear those mistakes from someone else, not from my team. And somebody was telling me, "Hey, Afif, do you know that your team messed up yesterday?" I said, "Oh, I didn't know. They didn't tell me, or I didn't. Thank you for telling me." So I went back to my team and I said, "Look, I'm all right if you guys mess up. I'm okay. Yeah, make as many mistakes as you can, but don't make any mistakes intentionally, or don't mess up intentionally. Just do what you do best, and if something goes wrong, it's perfectly fine. Because in most cases, I know you will make the decision based on what information you have at that point of time. So just do what you do best. Try new things. Fail as early as you can." And in fact, the culture has changed, because my team now, if they make a mistake, or if something goes wrong, they will, if something goes wrong, they will actually come back to me and say, "Afif, I have made a mistake. I want you to know that I didn't make this mistake intentionally." And I love that. I have my team when, like, of course, not every day. I mean, then there'll be a problem. But once in a while, they mess up, so they send me a message. I just want you to know I have made a mistake, but I have taken the right action to make it, to change the course of this. Failure is not your enemy. Not being able to learn from the failures will be a very big enemy for your growth. Do you have a culture where you're able to speak about mistakes openly? I mean, just put this to yourself. Take a moment to listen to this very carefully. Imagine every month your organization have a meeting where you only talk about the problems that you have experienced in the previous month. Just imagine what you will learn from that. I mean, in my world of work, where you call it quality assurance, so we have a monthly quality meeting where the only thing that people can bring to our table, our meeting, is a problem. And I always tell them, don't bring me a problem that you have already resolved. bring a failure to our. In fact, I'm actually looking at introducing a failure commit. A monthly failure meeting. I probably had to call a proper name, but I mean, learning from failures is such an important thing. Embracing failures. So I think this whole idea, we have a real opportunity here. I think that we can do something better. So do you have a culture like that? That's number 6. Because when you are on the path of excellence and growing and learning, you will make mistakes. It is inevitable. So number 6 is growth environment is a place where failure is not your enemy. Number 7, others are growing. Growth environment is a place where others are growing. If you are the only one who is growing, that's not the right environment. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. It's time for you to move out of the room. Growth happens when people grow together. Imagine if you becoming better only. It doesn't help. So how do you live by this? Next time when you attend a training session or a conference or a program, bring your people with you. Take them with you. You will love it. Take them with you. Encourage them to come with you. Go with them. Bring them and introduce them to the programs that you're attending. You attend a program, you learn something. Share the learnings with them. Because when others grow, your team grows. When your team grows, you are learning. You're also becoming better. Remember, a growth environment is a place where everybody grows together. And of course, in the team, there will be people that don't want to take these opportunities. Perfectly fine. We're not saying 100% everybody is going to, grow and study and do these things together. But we all get an opportunity. We all get an opportunity to attend programs and courses. Take people with you. There are so many free courses. And I think there's an opportunity here that can add value to everybody. So that is number 7. Others are growing with you. Remember, you get better only wouldn't help. You have to take other people with you. Number 8, a growth environment is a place where people desire change. They want to get better. They want to do things. They look at always what they can do better. This type of people come to work every day, or in a team, they come and ask, what can I do so that my team will grow and get better? How can I help my organization achieve the goals and the vision? People desire change in a growth environment. Meaning they're not resistant to change, yet they welcome the changes openly, and they give their hand to make those changes happen. That's what we're talking here about. People desire change. Number 9, others are ahead of you, which means as the team gets better, other people also gets better. There are people better than you in the team. Having people that are better than you in your team is actually a blessing for you. It's not a threat. In fact, in my team, I also do my best to write every day. I write a quote. I'm writing a I'm doing my best to to write, but I have a writer in my team, Atif, who is far better than me. I mean, he is absolutely a marvelous writer. He knows exactly what to write. He's so creative. I will never be even closer to his creativity. But he's a junior team. Do you think I'm afraid of him? No. I'm scared? No. I am so proud he's in my team because, I can tell to people in my team, I have a world-class writer because we're all good at some things. Some of us are, good at a particular domain. Some of us are not good in this domain. That is perfectly fine. When you have people who are better than you in a growth environment, actually you grow even better because you can learn from those people. You can ask for help. Sometimes I used to do writings and I would send it to Atif and I would say to Atif, can you edit this for me? Atif is 2-level junior to me. Yet I have that courage. This is what the 15 laws of growth tells us, that when it comes to growth, we should not be afraid. It's a perfect thing to be vulnerable. Sometimes I would write an email, I would send it to Atif, and I would say to Atif, can you have a look at this email and tell me what do you think? I mean, I remember, I think it was last year or the year before, maybe. Yeah, the year before, I think last year, sorry, 2022, I was doing a public conference for a 3-hour session. I put the whole slide deck together because at the time I was, I think, in the US, I was traveling and I put the slide deck while I was on the flight of 18 hours flight. And I knew I might have made some mistakes. So 1 hour before the session, I sent it to Atif and I said, Atif, can you look at my slides and the check and let me know if this works, if this would work? And he had a look. And he asked me to change a couple of things and a couple of words, couple of ways how I put things together. And he told me he never thought that I would ask him. I said, why should I not? You're a blessing to have in my team. So growth environment is a place where others are better and others are ahead of you. And it's perfectly fine to have people better than you. Last but not least, growth environment is a place where growth is modeled and expected, meaning the leaders drive the growth. They are keen on professional and personal development and personal growth. There's a culture where everybody comes to work and they look at how they can serve and how they can do better. The senior people in the organization are the people who send their people for training. They also attend the training together. I always love organization and the leaders who actually attend the training with their people, because sometimes you attend the training because you want to model the behavior, that the learning is key and important. Because if you're in an organization where your senior leadership people are not keen for learning and development, I think that then filters through the organization, because their behavior portrays the future and the way that the organization operates and runs. So growth is modeled and is expected. So these are the 10 characteristics of a growth environment. And I just want to, as we're coming to the end of the session, I just want to quickly take you through those 10 things, because today's topic is growth thrives in conducive environment. And those 10 things are: number one, you're continually challenged. Number two, it's an environment where the focus is on the mission. Once the mission is completed, what's our next mission? Number three, it's a place where you are encouraged to learn new things and make mistakes. Number four, it's a place where they tell you to do better, to get better. You get feedback to make things better, to improve yourself. It's a place where you go to work and you feel energized, inspired, excited. It's a place where you will make mistakes, but the culture is, what can we learn from the mistakes? They don't look for whose fault it was. They look at, what can we learn? And I'm telling you, these 10 things, by the way, are the 10 things what makes the world's best organizations the very best. When you look around these organizations, you name any organization, Google, LinkedIn, Microsoft, the Starbucks coffee, the HSBC Bank, or the world's number one airline, Singapore Airlines, or the world's number one airport, Singapore Changi International Airport. Or, when you look, for example, into some of the technology companies, or even sports gear, or any retail brand. The world's best companies, they got this wired. They got this wired in the top level, at the bottom level, and at the middle level. So whatever happens, you will see those 10 things. Number 7, others are growing. And there's a culture of people wish to change, get better. And you got bad people who are better than you, better talents than individually as you, and growth is more than expected. And what I would like everybody to do is that take a moment to reflect. Do you have this culture in your organization? And I know some of you may feel frustrated and you go, no, I don't really have a culture like that. So what is the response? Well, what should you do? Well, you live by these things. Start living by these things. Start living by these things with your little team that you work with. Because change starts with one person, and that it can compound along the way. As I end the teaching on the 15 laws of growth today, as we come to the end of the module that I shared today with you, the laws of the environment, growth thrives in conducive surroundings. I will share these slides with you too. What did you learn today from this topic, from this module, the law of the environment? Please go to the chat box and write your summary learning points. What are some of the things that you learn or that you became aware of from this topic today? The law of the environment, growth thrives or growth happens. Personal, professional growth happens in conducive environments. Good. Keep them coming. Maheshwaran, failure is not your enemy. Dinesh, you need a positively changed environment to grow. Absolutely. You need to get out of your comfort zone to grow. Keep them coming. Growth environment is a place where others are growing, and failure is an opportunity to learn. Failure is key for personal transformation. Absolutely. I mean, it was a new keynote I prepared yesterday, which I delivered. Probably maybe as a bonus session, I would do this for all of you in one of those sessions. I think those who probably attended, they really enjoyed the teaching, because I believe that sorry, I believe that if we all can take some time to learn from our failures, we'll actually be better than where we are today. Failures are not to be, left where it happened. It's supposed to be the one that we can reflect and learn from it. Very good. So this is the end of our session for today. We'll share the summary slides, and definitely next Sunday I will be meeting with all of you again as we continue. We're already halfway through, so we got 6 more laws to cover, and hopefully be able to complete this in the next couple of weeks. I want to thank everybody for your time today, and also taking time for your personal growth. I believe taking 30 to 45 minutes on a Sunday like today and investing in your personal growth is an example that you take your growth seriously. And I hope this the closer to 40 minutes that we have spent today is worth, and the time that you have spent today have made you a better person. I am better because you attended the program and I could teach this to you. And I really hope that you will be the change that your workplace wants to see. You may not have an environment like this, and it's perfectly fine, but be the change you want to see in your work environment. Because of your behavior and you modeling these behaviors, others may probably follow you and be inspired. Never underestimate the individual change that you can bring, because within you, you have the power to make these changes. I wish you well, and may you all be blessed. I will see you on next Sunday. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a lovely rest of the week ahead. Have a lovely afternoon. Thank you, everyone.